What's up, guys? Ruppy here, bringing you yet another game for the Grand Pokemon League, hosted by the the Ion Game Corner, and by extension, the Ion Pokemon League. I think I'm starting to stumble over that intro because I've done it so much in the span of the past hour, trying to get all these recorded. Probably my bad, especially since I keep motor mouthing this, and yeah. Anyway, so what I have here today is my Week 6 game. My Olivine Beacons are 5-0 at this... No, 4-0 at this point. Forgot the bye week. We are 4-0 at this point on the season. One of the only two unbeatens left standing. This is a game I actually played this past week. I could have live recorded this, but I opted not to. Simply because of the fact that, one, I tried live recording a game right before this. It was my game for the main Ion Pokemon League. I'm still planning on probably putting that game up. It's probably not going to be live recorded, though. I've got something else in mind for that, actually, given how it turned out, just because I don't think my commentary was the best listening back to it. Beyond that, I just wanted to try and wait until I got all caught up with these recording-wise before I did one live. But probably for the better, because this was a really nerve-wracking game. Playing Custos and the Littleroot Town Blazeknights. As I bring up the side-by-side roster here, you can see the gimmick of his team. Besides the Klefki and the Gastrodon, his team is fast. Very, very fast. Speed is the name of the game for the Littleroot Town Blazeknights. And that posed a bit of a problem to me, because my team is a bit on the bulkier side. I could probably take the hits he could throw, but, I mean, I would probably have a hard time trying to keep up. I knew, just based off the draft near the beginning of the season, that this was going to be one of my toughest games throughout the season. And I thought I prepped relatively well for it. But this ended up being a really good game. It really came down to the wire. Just looking over what he brought. He brought a lot of things I was expecting him to. Like, I knew the Blaze game was coming. I figured he'd probably bring Lopunny, which happens to be his Mega. Was not really expecting the Sceptile. I expected Superior. But Sceptile was kind of just as dangerous, honestly. I knew he would bring Gastrodon just because, aside from being the speed anomaly of his team, with the exception of Klefki, which kind of makes up for it with Prankster. Basically, it was a really good check to just about everything on my team. Just being Water Ground type, having Storm Drain, just being bulky in general, etc. And that Staraptor, I also kind of expected. Actually, I expected him to bring Scolipede over Staraptor, but the Staraptor actually kind of made things a little worse. I also expected him to maybe bring Garchomp, because one of the tactics he's been trying to do all season is speed boost up with Scolipede, and then Baton Pass to Garchomp and Mega Evolve it just to try and wreck shop. Didn't do that this game, just opted for flat out speed against me, which he still has a very threatening team on top of that. I had something else I wanted to say in regards to that, but I seem to have forgotten it. No. Anyway, my team was kind of built around a bit of a gimmick, specifically to turn the tables on him, essentially. Because I have 2 mons on my team capable of running Trick Room. And my team is, overall, slow enough to make it work. Oh, now I remember. If you were looking at the side-by-side rosters, you would notice there are 4 main speed boosters that most people look to in Pokemon, ignoring any of their pre-evolutions that might happen to get it. Those being Blaziken, Scolipede, Sharpedo, and Yanmega. And between our two teams, we have all of them. But I really didn't want to try and match him speed for speed. So with the exception of Ultra Mega, the Yanmega, who I brought this week because Yanmega could put in a lot of work against his team with a couple of speed boosts up, I basically went for a somewhat bulkier team build this week, just trying to emphasize the bulk and take advantage of Trick Room and the fact that I knew I was going to be slower than him, because he's got so many fast mons. I was going to turn that against him. So, to that end, I have Caesar the Slow King as one of my Trick Room setters, one with a more offensive set this week, because beyond Trick Room, it's got Life Orb, and I was just, I didn't even put Slack Off on, I was just completely banking on Regenerator to heal it. I did actually bring Regenerator Slow King this time, as opposed to the Own Tempo one I brought back in week 3. Princess the Sylveon also came. I actually kind of, I tend to be doing this a lot more often. I know he's kind of become a bit of an inspiration to me as far as Draft League format battling is concerned, but just in general, I seem to find myself borrowing ideas more and more from A-Drive recently. Because the Sylveon is a sub-Calm Mind variant, which, as you know, has kind of been the signature set he's been running. A-Drive has been running with his Cresselia over in the NPA all season long. I attempted to use that myself this week, and, well, we'll see how well it worked out shortly. Bramble the Tangrowth also came along. I was iffy on bringing Tangrowth, but ultimately I decided I would bring it for the simple fact that I needed a grass type to be able to try and handle that Gastrodon. Granted, I underestimated Gastrodon's bulk in that regard, or I just didn't offensively orient my Tangrowth enough, but again, getting a little ahead of myself. Tough Tusk the Donphan also came. Stealth Rocks were kind of a necessity to really help me wear down his team, considering I knew he would be switching a lot just to take full advantage of his speed. And last but not least, I brought Victini. And this was the game where I wanted to try and revive an old set from 5th gen that was really terrifying, honestly, if you got it to work. That being the threat of Trick Room V-Create Victini. I need to remember to breathe while I'm talking. Anyway. I believe Victini's what I ended up giving my leftovers to out of this as well. No, I gave the leftovers to... I give it a Flame Plate. I gave the leftovers to Sylveon for the Calm Mind sub shenanigans. But we're gonna go ahead and get started here. So, here we go, our battle with Custos and the Littleroot Town Blazeknights, and this was a war, I'm not gonna lie. This is probably the best game I've had all season. So, I lead with Tough Tusk, as he's gonna lead with Staraptor and get off the Intimidate, but Staraptor really wants nothing to do with Donphan, so it's just gonna go ahead and U-turn out. He's gonna find out, however, that I put Rocky Helmet on this Donphan. So, he's gonna just hurt Sharpedo, or, Staraptor, excuse me, as I go ahead and set up Stealth Rocks while he switches in Sceptile. This Sceptile became very terrifying very quickly. I switched out thinking he might have potentially brought Mega Sceptile or might have gone a special set, so I go into Bramble as he sets up a Swords Dance. Now, I am very familiar with this set. I've actually used it myself for something else. It was like a Smogon Live tournament, I think, at some point. I'm going to fire off a Hidden Power Fire here just to get some damage off as he sets up another Swords Dance. Basically, you Swords Dance up with Sceptile, you eat a berry, he just goes straight for the Acrobatics, which, because he is still holding the Citrus Berry, Bramble's actually able to live that. I do, however, activate the Citrus Berry after this HP Fire. Ugh. I'm getting exhausted here doing this commentating. So, he's got Unburden now, which is a real problem. I just get Bramble out of there so I can heal up with Regenerator as I go back into Tough Tusk. He goes for Acrobatics again. Gets a crit. Tough Tusk somehow able to survive as I get Rocky Helmet damage off. And then I surprise him with an Ice Shard. And thankfully the Sceptile threat is neutralized. Oh, thank God. That could have been really bad. So he's going to go into Lopunny here. And he's going to proceed to Mega Evolve, which is going to reveal which Mega he's running this week to me. I expected him to fake out just to kill me. I just went for the Ice Shard to try and get some damage off. He does make a bit of a smart play, though. Knowing he's going to take Rocky Helmet damage. Anyway, he does eat the Ice Shard, but he goes for Power Up Punch. So, Tough Tusk is once again going to go down. He's really just been martyring himself for this team all season. But now I've got a voice crack. Now I've got a +1 Mega Lopunny to deal with, which is a huge problem. I send in Ultra Mega and Protect to be able to get the speed boost. As he goes for a return, I am sashed. Again, voice cracks. Wonderful. Anyway, I am sashed, but I am also faster now. So I'm going to go ahead and fire off an Air Slash. He knows it's coming and gets Mega Lopunny out of there. As I try to get caught up here. Klefki is going to be able to take the Air Slash relatively well. And I do not need Ultra Mega getting paralyzed. If this thing got paralyzed, I was screwed. So I switch over to Caesar here to take the incoming Thunder Wave, because I know it's coming. And Slowking, well, the name kind of says it all, honestly. So, Klefki's going to put up a light screen now. And I take the opportunity to set up my first Trick Room of the game. And I don't know what Custos' reaction to this was while we were playing, but I can imagine he did not like seeing me set up a Trick Room. I go ahead and Scald, and even despite the light screen, it still gets some big damages. He's going to Foul Play, which doesn't do a whole lot to Caesar, thankfully. Here I make a bit of a misplay. I should have probably seen the Gastrodon coming, and the fact that I didn't is going to bite me in the ass a bit here, because I'm going to give it a free Storm Drain boost, which is never good. I get Caesar out of here at this point, because I really don't have anything that could particularly deal with this thing, and I still need Slowking for later. I go into Bramble, which I brought specifically to deal with this thing. He's going to fire off a +1 Earth Power, which does, despite the Assault Vest, does a lot more than I thought it would. So at this point, he's going to Scald, and unfortunately he does end up getting the burn. But he reveals a Life Orb Gastrodon, which, well, it's not Life Orb anymore because I'm going to knock that thing off. But, yeah, I am not in a good position here, as I also lose my Trick Room, so Gastrodon's actually now outspeeding me anymore, so my Trick Room is not working against me now. I Giga Drain, and unfortunately, I get nowhere close to killing Gastrodon. It's just going to recover up. And I am not in a good position right now, because I believe this Gastrodon is actually going to be able to out-recover the Giga Drains. He doesn't want to test that theory, though. He's going to get Gastrodon out of there. I don't blame him. I knew the switch was coming, but I could not take that risk. He is going to end up going into Staraptor. I actually mispredicted here. I thought I was going to go into Blaziken, so I tried to Earthquake. So, Staraptor's unfortunately, aside from Stealth Rock damage, going to be able to get him for free. And unfortunately, I have to let Bramble fall here because nothing... I deduced pretty quickly that this Staraptor was Choice Banded, which Banded Staraptor could have destroyed my entire team with Donphan out of commission. So, hoping to try and deal with it, I go back into Ultra Mega and try to Protect just to be able to get a speed boost off, as he's just going to straight up go back out into Klefki, and I don't blame him, because there is no other reason I would bring this thing in otherwise. I need to take a few breaths here. I'm running out of breath trying to commentate this. So, I devise a plan here. I go into Princess at this point. Unfortunately, you do end up getting Thunder Waved, which could have potentially cost me. He's going to get Klefki out of here at this point. He's got nothing to hit Sylveon with, apparently. He goes into Gastrodon, which is kind of an interesting play to me. I don't know what he was predicting. I go ahead and set up the sub, which, at this point, keeping Sylveon behind a sub is huge for me. he's going to go for Earth Power, which actually does not break the sub and allows me to get a Calm Mind set up. So I'm at +1 now, which is bad news for him. Sorry for the pause. I'm taking the opportunity to try and not suffocate myself, just trying to do commentary. Just trying to keep up with this. Too much recording. Anyway, he's going to go for another Earth Power here. And that one is going to be able to break my sub, but I'm going to set up a second Calm Mind here. So now I'm at +2. And Sylveon is basically able to take out, ready to take on just about anything at this point. But I do not want, my thought process here was, I want to try and get back behind a sub when that Staraptor comes in. I end up getting paralyzed on this turn, though, as he does go for the Scald, which is kind of unfortunate. But I want to be behind a sub whenever he brings that Staraptor in, or something else for that matter. Because right now, Princess is kind of looking like my best hope to deal with that thing. I am able to get behind a sub this turn as he Scalds again. So thankfully, I am behind a sub. I'm at +2 now. And this is when he gets Gastrodon out of there. I thought he might have gotten it out there sooner, but he goes into Staraptor here. It's Intimidate is not going to do anything because I'm behind a sub. Not that Sylveon's going to be hitting anything on the physical hit, well, physically anyway. I unfortunately get paralyzed as he takes Stealth Rock's damage. So I am going to have to sacrifice my sub here. But I'm willing to trade my substitute to this Banded Brave Bird, if it means, and thankfully I do not get paralyzed here. I am able to fire off a Hyper Voice, and this Staraptor threat is gone. His Banded Staraptor basically had the potential to one-shot my entire team. It would have eventually taken itself out to Brave Bird recoil, but I did not want to lose a huge chunk of my team just trying to get it to that point. So at this point, he goes into Megalopony, and he is going to reveal the Fake Out here. At this point, Princess did its job. It put a lot of pressure on him. Took out his Staraptor. So I kind of let Princess go to sleep here. As it goes down to a crit return. That crit did not matter at all. There was no way Sylveon was taking that return. But at this point, I go into Victini now. And as he's going to switch out, I am going to take the opportunity. I believe right here he made a huge risk there switching into Klefki. I think he was trying to sack Klefki off to the incoming V-Create. But instead, I set up a Trick Room. And he's going to Thunder Wave, which is just going to sort of help my cause a bit. But I'm going to fire off a V-Create now. And Klefki's day is done. As it just kind of melts in the face of just the raw power of V-Create. And, God, I think I'm starting to lose my voice here now. Too much commentating in such a short amount of time. Okay, so he goes back into Megalopony here. I don't want to... Well, I actually do stay in to take the Fake Out. And as long as I don't get paralyzed, I do outspeed under Trick Room, because thanks to the V-Create, especially. He's going to go into Gastrodon now as I proceed to fire off another V-Create, which is going to get another set of stat drops. So the defense and special defense drops are going to eventually start to hurt me here. But the speed drops are actually helping me in Trick Room. Does not take out the Gastrodon because it does resist. But I am able to follow it up with a Zen Headbutt just to preserve some V-Create PP. And to avoid further stat drops. Get a crit, which honestly didn't matter at that point. So the Gastrodon problem is now out of the way. This is unfortunately when my Trick Room wears off and when he brings in Blaziken. And unfortunately, this is the point of the season where Victini's streak of not dying is going to have to come to an end. I let it die to a Rock Slide because I needed a safe switch. And I was fearing that... I don't think he had it just based on the fact he never used it. But I was fearing that this thing had knockoff, and I didn't want to switch Slowking into that. So I had to let Victini go. He switches Blaziken out here into Mega Lopunny, probably predicting me to Scald, or most likely set up another Trick Room. I outright Side Shock here, because at this point, I'm done Trick Rooming. I'm just going to go balls to the wall here. And that Side Shock play does take out the Mega Lopunny, which is really huge, because I was kind of out of answers to deal with it at this point. So, it's down to Blaziken against Slowking and Yanmega at this point. And here he reveals to me that high jump kick is actually the best thing he's got to hit Slowking. I unfortunately get paralyzed here, but at this point, even if I lost Slowking, yeah, Ultra Mega's Sash was still intact, so provided he didn't flinch me with a Rock Slide, I had this game at this point. He hits me with another high jump kick. I'm going to take him out with a Scald, as Caesar's going to pick up another kill in this game. And unfortunately, it's also going to go down to Life Orb Recoil. But because I still had Yanmega waiting in the back, I am able to barely survive to keep my undefeated record intact with a 1-0 victory. That was a mouthful for a longer game. But, hell of a game, Custos. That was terrifying. I need to catch my breath from watching that game. Holy hell. But yeah, great game, Custos. You're definitely turning your season around by the looks of things, and hopefully you continue to do that, because you have a really threatening team, and you've also come the closest so far to ending my unbeaten ways. So, kudos to you. I am completely out of breath now, so I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. Thank you guys so much for watching. I have been Ruppy, and I will see you guys next time, hopefully without running out of breath. Take care.